Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever it is that you're doing this yoga practice. Welcome. Today's practice is essentially going to focus on the feet and the ankles and the toes. It's impossible to overstate how important it is for us to find grounding through the feet, for us to have functioning feet and mobile enough ankles and strong enough ankles for us to be able to really stack the rest of the body the way it should be. When we have tight hips and we have ankles and feet that don't work so well, ultimately it's the joint in the middle that may take the brunt of the injury. So one of the reasons that we've got, well, less than perfect knees is that our hips are stiff and our feet and ankles don't function the way they were actually meant to because we've paved the world and imprisoned our feet in shoes. Many of us have lost a lot of the awareness that we need through the feet. Our brains don't send messages to the toes and the soles of the feet the way that they ought to. If you ever look at the way a baby's foot reacts when you run your finger up the foot, the toes will really come in like that, and then when they relax, they'll spread. As we get older and we put ourselves into these shoes that don't necessarily have the mobility, the flexibility that they should to allow our feet to fully articulate and do what they need to do so that all these bones and joints can really continue to move. As our feet begin to stiffen and lose their capabilities, we lose a vital part of our foundation. Yoga, thank goodness it's barefoot, and does ask us to really pay more attention to the millions of receptors that we have at the bottom of our feet. It also asks us to start working and restoring some of the functions of our feet so that whatever is above this critical foundation can start to operate a little bit better. Many people wear orthotics. That's great. If you've lost some of what your arches are supposed to do for your feet, then orthotics can help you to stack your body the way that it ought to be because it provides support to the foundation. However, like someone who's depressed who takes an antidepressant, which is also great, they need the therapy, or someone who's anxious who takes anxiety medication, or someone who is trying to implement some other changes and may have assistance from other things. You also need to ensure that your feet learn how to work. So that's what we're going to work on today. For today's practice, I would highly recommend that you have some kind of ball. A tennis ball will work, but it's not really as firm as it ought to be. It does have a lot of give. If it's new, it's probably a little stiffer, which is great, but if you do have one of these sorts of balls, a golf ball is probably a little bit too hard and a little bit too small. A cricket ball, squash ball, something that will give you a little bit of feedback for your feet. As always, if you have some blocks, something to sit on, a cushion, and a resistance band would be great. I can't find my long, wide one, so I've got one of these, which is pretty wide. It's a little too much resistance, but anything that will give you a little bit of elasticity, some kind of band that you can push your foot into, that will really help for today's practice as well. First, we're going to start with some self-massage. Great place to start. Our feet treat us beautifully from the time we start walking, so let's treat them well as well. So in whatever position you're comfortable sitting, you're going to bring one foot up. I'm going to start here and just grab your foot, give it a little love. So a little bit of just waking it up, a little bit of massage all the way down the center, right, and top. Some of the things that we may get into today may be a little bit uncomfortable. Discomfort, kind of par for the course. Painful, we should try to avoid doing anything that causes any sharp or shooting pains, right? Right now we're just waking up the foot a little bit. Right, so mirroring you've got your left foot here across. You're going to take your left hand, and we're going to thread all the fingers in between the toes. So thumb goes on the outside of the toe, second, and all the way down. So when you get to the last of the toes, it might be a little bit more painful. If you can't fit your fingers in between the last couple of toes, that's okay. Just do what you can, right? And then we're just going to take the toes back and forth. So we're going to stretch them back and pull them forward. Stretch and pull. Not so comfortable, I get it. Pull, stretch, pull, stretch, and pull. Now, we're going to try to spread your fingers as wide as you can. Okay? So we want to be able to do this without the fingers, but this is a great way just to warm up the foot a little bit. Spread the fingers as wide as you can. Good. And then we're going to release. All right? And taking the foot, just the heel, onto the floor, we're going to take the thumbs in, so below the line of the toes, right? You can feel the actual bones of your tarsals over here, okay? We're just going to go to where the big toe and the second toe are. Place your hand there, so a couple fingers on the bottom, thumbs on top, and just go back, up and down, like that, right? We're trying to just loosen things up a little bit in between those bones, right? And they do move, not a ton, okay? And then to the second and third tarsal, to the second and third toe, to the third and fourth, and you may find an increasing amount of movement to the fourth and fifth. And we're going to take the foot ahead of you. Spread the toes as much as you can. All right, so again, some people will be looking at their toes and really encouraging them to move, and they won't do much moving. That's okay. And then just relax the foot. We're just going to do some big circles. Just to get some movement through the ankle. And the opposite direction. So you can see in this position that my thigh and my knee are moving quite a bit. So what we can do, for those of you who feel that your ankle's feeling okay, right, and has a little bit of movement, we're going to hook one arm underneath the leg, and the other is going to go on top of the knee. So the kneecap's not going to move, thigh is going to be stabilized. I'll shift here, and then without moving the upper part of the leg, we're just going to do those circles once again. So now my knee's not moving, my thigh is not moving. This is just my ankle articulating. And other side. Other direction for the circle. You may feel those peroneals out here beginning to warm up. And let's give that foot a rest, and we'll go to the other side. foot's going to come across. Right? Just a little bit of a massage just to wake up the fascia, muscles, get a little, and tendons get a little bit of a good morning. And then, again, hopefully not too painful, we're going to take the hand, we're going to take the thumb on the outside of the big toe, second finger, third, fourth, and fifth. So again, may not get the little fingers all the way in. We want to try to get the biggest part of the finger in to the crease of the toes. And then forward, and back, and forward, and back, forward, and back. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Again, this is something we want to be able to do without the fingers, but it's not easy. Big spread of those toes. And then release. I'm going to do some circles. Other direction. And before we grab the knee and try to isolate, let's go to moving the fingers. So again, these are your metatarsals. We want to get into the tarsals, okay, those bones in there. So big toe, second toe, you can feel where the bump is right above the big toe. And just inside there, we're going to try to get a little bit of movement up and down between the two. And then moving on to the second and third toe. And then the third and fourth toe. Those for me are the most mobile. And then the fourth and fifth toe. And we'll sling the right arm underneath the right leg. You can grab onto the opposite arm if you want to. Left hand comes onto the knee. And then without moving the thigh or the knee, big circles. So just isolating all those bones in the ankle, so getting those joints to move as much as they can. Open up those toes as much as you can. Let's have the other foot connect as well. Big stretch of the toes. So if you can manage to open the toes but they pull back towards the face, you can, as a next step, try to point your toes towards the ceiling. You'll really feel the muscles of the arches of your feet, and there are 3 of them. One here, and one across here. You can really feel those arches start to engage if you try to point your toes towards the ceiling instead of pulling them back towards your face. Ooh, give them a little shake. Okay, now we're going to raise the seat a little bit. So I've got 2 blocks here. You can do this on a chair. You can also do this standing, bending your knees and resting your hands resting your forearms here on your thighs, but we're just going to try to talk to our toes for a little bit. So let's raise the toes up. See if you can spread them nice and wide, and then place them down. And again, raise them up toes, we want the big toe mound, the little toe mound, and the heel all on the floor at the same time. Try to spread the toes nice and wide. And then release them down wide. All right, let's grab one of those balls. You can do this seated if you've never really done this before, or you can do this standing. So it's really up to you. If you're standing, you're going to be able to bear more weight on top of the ball. There's going to be more pressure and more sensation. Seated is better, again, if you've never done this before, but if this is old hat, certainly stand up. So we're going to start by placing the heel on the floor. Turn this way, heel on the floor, big toe mound on the ball. And you can just lean into it. So again, if you're standing, here you are. Right, so standing, there's more pressure. Sitting, a little less pressure. And then we're going to take the ball and we're going to transfer it more to the middle of the foot. Again, heel is on the floor, but lean forward so that the middle of the foot at the toe mounds, right where the toe mounds meet that inner arch. And then we're moving to the little toe mount. And just lean into it. Then we're going to roll the foot forward, place the heel on the ball, and lean into it. So anybody's got some plantar fasciitis or sciatica or just really sensitive heels, again, any of these may be a real pressure point. Adjust how much weight you're leaning into the ball according to what feels right for you. And here again, you can do the sitting. We're going to take the ball from the heel to the big toe mount and roll that way back and forth. So big toe mount, down that inner arch to the heel and back. Right? Adjusting the pressure as you go along. You may want to pause if there's a place that just goes, right? So again, just getting a little bit. This is a reminder of that massage that we did right at the beginning, but it's a lot more present when you've got your body weight pressing into the ball. And now we're going to shift the ball so it's at the second, third toe mount. So we're going to go down the center of the foot towards the heel and back. Center of the foot to the heel and back. Again, always adjusting according to what's best for you. And then, of course, if you just find that sweet spot where you want to pause, go ahead, do that. And then little toe mound to the heel and back. Right? So that sharper edge, outside edge of the foot, a little harder to control the ball, but we're just trying to get some nice massage through that part of the foot. All right, loosen things up. If you walk a lot, if you run a lot, again, these are great exercises. Great things to do for your foot. Oh, I just found a really good sweet spot right there. Yeah. Good. And we'll go to the other side. Right? So let's start with the big toe mound, heel down. Just lean your weight into that toe mound. We're going to transfer so it's more to the middle toe mounds. Adjust the pressure. You don't have to lean in too far. Again, we may be in for a little mild discomfort here. We don't want anything that's going to be so painful you have to flinch away. That flinch is your body telling you, not too much, right? Start with a little bit of pressure, lean in a little bit more, find what's right for you. Onto the little toe mount here. to the heel. You can bring the toe mounts down. And again, just lean in. Please have a seat if your full body weight is too much. Take your time. Breathe through any discomfort. It's okay to be a little uncomfortable. Probably doing you some good in the end. And then we're going to take that ball from the heel to the big toe mound, heel to the big toe mound, so getting that inner arch, that medial arch. Adjust in terms of how much pressure you're putting down. If you need to hold on to a stool or a table or the wall, that's cool too. In the meantime, you're working some of the balance on that opposite ankle. Less so if you're seated, obviously. So straight up the middle now to the second, third toe mounts and all the way to the heel. Just adjusting how much pressure you're putting down on your foot. Oh, if you find a good spot, just stay there and breathe a little bit. And then we're going to shift to the outer edge of the foot. Again, a little harder to control that sharp edge. But do your best. To the little toe mound and to the heel. Little toe mound and to the heel. Alrighty. Going back to the first foot, we're going to keep the heel on the floor, toe mounts at the ball, pressing some weight into the toe mounts. Try to open up the toes nice and wide, and then try to grip your toes around the ball. Okay, open up the toes nice and wide, and then grip the toes around the ball. Open up. Okay, so next time you're walking around, you drop a pen on the floor or a pencil on the floor. Try to pick it up with your toes. Really good for helping out the muscles of the feet. We don't want them to be lazy. We don't want them to atrophy, so to speak. We want them to work. Right? And grip. And we'll do the same to the other side. Again, please be seated if your full body weight is too much. So gripping the toes around the ball and then spreading them as you lean in with a little bit of pressure into those toe mounts. Open, close, open, close, and open. Thank you. Roll the ball away. I need to come to sitting again, but once again, you can do the following standing if you like. So we're just going to play with our toes for a moment. So I'm going to lift up all the toes. And then just try to put your big toe down. Now, without lifting up the outer corners of the feet, right? So toes are going to spread, and try to put your big toes down. So if this is really difficult, hold up the other toes, and then try to get that big toe down. All right, so yes, you're helping yourself and that's okay, but we're trying to wake up those muscles and allow the signals that come from your brain all the way down into your feet to function, right? And now we're going to try to keep the big toes up and put the other toes down. 4 toes up, big toes stay up, keep the big toes up, and put the other 4 down. Good. And then just hold it there. Try to really engage those big toes and feel what it feels like to get the big toes up, the other toes down. We're going to lift them all up and then bring them down. Right? You can play all kinds of games like this with your toes. A lot of the times it's just you looking at them and them not moving. Okay, but we're going to try. Okay, all the toes down. See if you can lift the big toe up. See if you can tap. Woo, tap. You may find yourself making faces or using your hands. You can, again, push down your other toes and try to lift the big toe. Ultimately, it'd be great if we could all really control the function of each and every toe. Not so easy. You can try fanning them down and fanning them up. Right? You can try bringing these toes together, hold them there, and try to spur the other toes away. But really, now's some time to play with your toes. So, again, try to keep the big toes lifted. Yes. Try to keep the big toes lifted. And then place the other ones down. Fan them up. Fan them down. And now I can feel my feet getting tired. And I can actually feel the muscles of my feet working. Good. So I'm just going to give the toes a little wiggle. And we're going to go on to a few more sort of more traditional yoga poses. Okay. So let's come on to hands and knees. Again, you can absolutely, I'm going to bring this down, you can absolutely make modifications in all of these. So when we first get to these, they're difficult. And as we progress, they get a little easier. This progression is going to take time. Okay? And there may be a little bit of discomfort. There may be a lot of discomfort. Do what you can, go at your own pace, make accommodations whenever you need to. So let's start with the knees underneath the hips. We're going to have the big toes touch. We're just going to start to move the body a little bit. So with cat and cow, because we're going to get in some spinal movement today, just because that really does make a complete yoga practice. We're going to come up into this cow. Inhale, lift the tail, chin, and chest. And then as you exhale and round the back, take your hips back towards your heels, whether they touch or not. Inhale, come on up. For cow, hugging the hands to the knees, drawing the chest forward and up. And then exhale, round the back and push your hips back. And we're going to keep going in your own time, in your own pace. Because in order to get those hips back and get lots of movement in the feet and the ankles, here we're going to also get into our hips a little bit in our quads to help us make sure that the feet are working the way they can. And so here we go. We're going to try to make our way back towards child's pose. For some people, that will not mean that the sit bones are on the heels, and for some people, that's what it will mean. Right? You can bring your forearms down. We're just going to hold it here. This is great for the hips and also for your legs, but the tops of the feet are pushing down into the floor. So this typically is a little easier for those people who are a little more accustomed to walking in heels. So if you've never really pointed your feet, you've never really walked in heels and extended the top of your foot, this can be really difficult. We're going to walk the hands back and see if you can come to sitting on those feet. Okay? So for some people, this is really, really not happening. Keep your weight forward. Right? What you can also do is you can take a little towel or roll up the back of your mat, place your ankles here, and come up to sitting. So this will prevent the top of the foot and ankle from having to flatten down completely. A lot of guys that I work with feel much more comfortable with some support. Now, we don't want to overdo, the padding, we still want to feel that ankle is getting that lengthening on the front side. And then, if you can, bring the knees together and try again. As you come back to trying to sit on the feet, we want to try to keep the heels close together. So in other words, we don't want the heels going out like that. We want to try to keep the heels close together and come on down. The buttocks are kind of like of ice on either side of the heels. Right? You may need a break. You may need a break. You may need to come up onto the knees for a little bit. That's okay. Come on up, have a little breather, and then join us again. You can take a little washcloth or a towel and tuck them under the ankles. If the mat is too much, there's lots of ways. You just want to spend, good 30 seconds, a minute, if you can, 2 minutes here. And then we're going to bring the hands forward. We're going to step back one leg and then the other leg to plank, and then we're just going to come back and lift the hips up and back. Pedal the legs out, so push back through the right heel, push back through the left heel, let the hips waggle back and forth, that's just fine. Good. So not right now paying too much attention to what's going on in the hands and shoulders, really trying to focus on the feet. And we're going to settle down onto the knees. This time we're going to keep the toes curled under, right? Just as many people dislike this one as dislike the other one. So we're just going to pull the hips back a bit, pushing into the toes, and come on up. If you want to do cow pose, lifting the tail, chin, and chest, you can. You don't have to. You can just come back into neutral. It's up to you. Curl the tailbone down. And now the tailbone will naturally come up if you look up. Exhale to come back. Inhale to come forward. So just some pulsing motions. Always best to work dynamically before we hold something for a little longer. But if you're ready, you can keep your toes this way and then press the hands, walk the hands back and come to try to sit on the heels. Again, just as many people dislike this as the other one. One of the ways to make this a little easier is to take a couple of blocks and prop up your knees. Okay, so without too much ankle flexion and less pressure on the toes, on the flexion of the toes, having the block there can really help. And there are some people who are going to sit here and go, hey, this is no big deal, I can do this. So what I want you to do is keep your weight into your heels, but try to inch your knees forward. You'll really feel those toes get flexed. And because I have such an itsy bitsy little baby toe, you want to try to get your baby toe involved in the action as well if you need to. You can just move it with your fingers. And again, we're just going to hold it here. Sitting and thinking happy thoughts about all the good that we're doing to our feet. So, yeah, there may be a little bit of discomfort. If you need a break, come on up, take a break so there's less pressure on your toes, and then rejoin us. Nice big deep breaths. And we're going to take the hands forward. We're going to point the feet back. Do a little tap, 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 tap of your foot. Step one foot back, then the other, coming into plank, and then we're going to raise the hips, go all the way back to downward facing dog. Now, bend your left knee and straighten your right leg. Your hips can go askew, so your right hip's going to lift, the left hip's going to drop. But I want you to feel this stretch of the calf muscle. So if this is too much for you, by all means, come on up, lean your hands against the wall to do this calf stretch. So with the back leg straight, we've got the top of the calf really feeling it. That's your gastrocnemius. It's got those two big fleshy heads, okay, right back there. Right. So most of the weight is in the toe mounds of your right foot. And then what I want you to do is I want you to start bending your right knee. So the right heel is going to lift, but keep bending your right knee, and you may feel as you press back pressing into the toe mounds, but also extending back through the right heel, you may feel that stretch drop lower. That's dropping into the soleus, which comes a second calf muscle, which comes lower and wraps down through
all the way down into the sole of the foot, right? I like to give a little bit of a bounce here, right? And then if you straighten the leg, you may feel that stretch become more prominent. Again, you're gonna feel it more in the upper part of the calf, and then bending the knee, you may feel it closer to the ankle, maybe even into the sole of the foot. We're gonna go to the other side. If you need a rest with the arms, by all means, bring the forearms down or just come down and rest. We're going to bend the right knee and push back through the left heel. So, excuse me, even with the left heel up, right, that's just fine. The heel does not have to touch the floor. We really want to feel that stretch below the knee and the bigger calf muscles, those fleshy calf muscles. So feel what's going on back there, and then we're going to bend the left knee. Left heel may rise, but we're still pushing back through it. You may just feel a little bit more of a stretch through the lower part of the calf. And we're going to walk the feet forward now, coming into a forward fold. Feel free to bend the knees. Let the torso be nice and heavy. Once we're down here, we might as well look at those toes, lift the toes up, spread them nice and wide, even if you need the help of your fingers, and then lay them down. We're going to take hands to the hips, extend through the chest, and come all the way up, pushing down deep into the soles of the feet. Really feeling how rooted you are. Take your weight forward and back, and forward and back. Ooh, that's too far back. And forward and back. And now we're going to take the weight left and right, and left and right. And then in some circles. Again, just trying to really awaken your proprioception through the feet. But where are you gripping? Where is there tension? We've done a lot to get into those feet, so they may feel actually pretty good. And then you're going to stand nice and tall. Try to align the outer ankle, the outer knee, outer hip, outer shoulder, outer ear. Nice and tall. Good. Making the weight even, front to back, left to right, and straight through this lightning rod of the human body. Inhale, reach your arms to the sky. Exhale, bend the knees to the pelvis, come all the way down. Plant the hands. We're going to step the left knee back, the left foot back, and bring the knee to the floor. So here we want to have weight fully in the front foot. Okay, and although this is not something we would do with the back leg off the floor, something you would likely hear teachers instruct in class, what we're going to do is we're going to take this front knee past the toes. However, we want the right heel down on the floor. So if you feel your right heel start to lift, we're going to walk the right foot forward a little bit more, right? And lean your body weight onto your right leg. Now, if this is a little bit too much for you, if you really don't feel that you can get that foot forward, you're going to take your block, place your foot on it. This is going to come a little bit easier, right? So here I am on the block. Same kind of movement. I'm pushing forward, pushing forward. We're trying to make the ankle, the front of the ankle, more acute. Right? So if this is going well and you want to try it on the floor, again, we're pushing knee over toe,
knee over toe. If you've done this before, you want to grab a kettlebell or some weights and have them on your leg. Also helpful to go a little bit deeper. And now after those dynamic pulses, we're going to hold it here. Again, we want to try to get the knee over past the toe, keeping your heel down on the floor. So for a lot of people, coming into a squat position can be really, really difficult. For a lot of us, the limitation, as long as the knees are healthy, the limitation may be in the hips. But for a lot of people, the limitation may be in the ankle. We have to get that knee over toe. We want to feel a nice stretch through the calf. Again, decreasing the angle between the foot and the shin, but keep your heel on the floor. Keep on breathing. We're going to walk the hands back. Bring the knees underneath the hips. We'll just do some quick circles. As you extend through the hip as you come forward, it'll be the opposite of what we were just doing with that right hip, so that should feel good. Both directions. And whenever you're ready, we're going to take the left foot forward. So please do use a block, use a chair, right? So the higher your surface, the easier it's going to be. We'll start with those dynamic movements. So pulsing forward, bringing it back and pulsing forward. Again, it's going to be easier if you have a higher surface to get a little bit more comfortable with this movement. Try to keep the hips face forward as well. And then when you're ready, you're going to hold that position, taking some weight into the top of the thigh or the knees. So really lean forward. But when you do that, we want to make sure that that back heel is not lifted. Right? The idea is to keep it down so that we can practice getting that deeper angle in the front of the foot. In my case, I definitely notice a little bit more restriction on the left side. If it's uncomfortable for the back leg to be so far back, you can always bring it forward. Same thing. Okay. I just like the stretch of my hip flexor. But here, I can even hang on to my front knee as I press on the other one, but harder for the camera to pick it up. So really leaning forward into that leg, trying to get a little bit more action to get my knee over toe. This is great for knee health. And remember, because our hips tend to be stiff from sitting a lot and our feet tend to be less than mobile, they don't articulate all that well, the knee often takes the brunt of certain injuries, right? Stiff hips, weak ankles. So we're going to come back now and do some circles with the hips because that feels good. Again, one step back with the right foot, step back with the left foot to plank, and then downward facing dog. You can pedal up the legs. Go forward into plank. So for those of you with cranky wrists, you can always come onto your forearms. We're going to turn the tops of the feet over. And already you may really dislike this. So this is a little bit more advanced, really good for some core practice, but because we want to bring in what is going on with the feet, we're going to start to lift the hips and walk the hands back. So that may be where you stop just a
couple of inches. Some of you may be able to come way up, and then others not so much. We're going to go back to plank, tops of the feet still there, really working those core muscles. We'll start it off joyful, right? And then one foot over, the other foot over, bend the knees towards the floor and straighten, bend the knees towards the floor and straighten, and then downward facing dog. Good. So in downward facing dog, by all means, bend the knees if you need to get a little bit more length in the torso. Today, though, we're really concentrating on trying to get a little bit more ankle and foot movement. So if you want to continue to pedal the legs, you can. You want to stretch those heels towards the floor, you can. But again, just ensure that the back isn't rounding heavily. Okay. We're going to lift the right leg up, take a deep breath in, step the right foot forward towards the right thumb. You can bring the left knee down to the floor, and I grab a hold of your blocks here if you like. Right, I'm going to put mine ahead. You can have yours where they're comfortable. Okay. And what we're going to do here, I'm going to take my hand off of the block just so you can see properly. From here, we're going to lift the right heel up and then bring the right heel down. So strengthening for the ankle and the calf muscle, right heel up, right heel down. So here I am in the easiest way. The more you press into the blocks, the less weight you have coming down on the foot, and therefore the easier it's going to be on that ankle and calf muscle. All right, next step up. And for those of you who are feeling really strong, or if you've done this video many times, we're going to have that back knee off the floor, hands here, and up. The more difficult you make this, all right, the more muscles you're going to start to work and engage and strengthen. Good. And we're going to do one with a hold for 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep bending that front knee. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands come down to your blocks or the floor. Bring the heel down. We're going to stretch that front leg now. And again, this can be with the back knee down. Scooch that heel forward. I want you to flex your foot. Good. So again, back knee down or back knee up. We're going to take your right hand, wrap it underneath. Try to grab your toe mounts and pull back. Breathing nice, long, slow breaths. Both hands come down to the floor as the right knee bends. We're going to swing it back and then downward facing dog with a little pedal of the legs. And we'll go to the other side. Inhale with the left leg up. Exhale, step the left foot forward. Again, lots of different variations. So we're going to have, and the back toes can be curled under or pointed back. A little bit more difficult, pointed back. A little bit easier because it'll help you to balance if the toes are curled under. So again, I'm just going to use one block here, but you can use two, all right? And I want the camera to be able to pick it up, right? So hands on the blocks, back here is going to be the easiest. We lift the heel up and come down. You may have to adjust, so here I'm walking my foot back just a little bit. We come up, we go down. No hands or hands pressing down on the leg is going to give you more weight coming down on your leg. Or for those of you feeling super strong today, lift the left heel and down. Left heel, scoop the tailbone and down. lift, and down. Arms up again. Each time you take it up a notch, there's going to be more engagement in different areas of the body. We're going to hold this one for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands come down onto the floor or your blocks. Let's pull the hips up and back, straighten your left leg as much as you can and flex your left foot. Again, if you need blocks, use them. Wrap the hand underneath the foot and pull back on the toe mounts. Big calf stretch. And we're going to slowly release. Take the hands down. Make your way back to downward facing dog for a little dance, dance, dance with the feet. And we'll walk those feet forward. And feel free to bend the knees, let the head go. Extend through the chest to come up. Hands could be on the hips or let them rise. And come on down. Once again, let's just take some time to see how the feet are feeling. Shift the weight back and forth, left to right, front and back, maybe in some circles, lifting the toes, releasing the toes. Feel the feet grounded to the earth. Okay. Taking hands to the hips, come up on the toes, lifting the heels as high as you can. And if you need to hold on to something for balance, that's cool. And then we'll slowly come on down. All right. So one more before we get to chill out. All right. This is going to be engaging the glutes, but we're also going to be starting to work again for a little bit more ability for those knees, and it's going to begin with the ankles. So standing down on the left foot, I'll turn diagonally slightly here, right? We're going to take the right leg up. We're going to bend the left leg and try to touch the right heel as far away from you as you can, and then come on back up. And you can bring that heel down or not, right? You can keep it up if you like. Bend forward. So this is, again, knees coming over the toes. This is not typical for our yoga practice. We're just doing it very dynamically. We're going to go for 5 forward. Good. And then really recruiting our glutes, we're going to do it back. Okay? So we're going to point the toe back this time. Try to touch as far back as you can. And come up. 1, 2, and 3. Now, you're going to really start to feel the muscles of your foot and your left foot and your left ankle working. Okay? They have to. 4, and 5. And release. And let's walk, walk, walk. And we'll go to the other side. So, heel comes forward. Bend the right knee, try to get that left foot, ahead of you as much as you can, and come on up. 2. To make this harder, you can stand on a block. 3. If you're working on pistol squats, great way to begin. Good. And then that back leg, we're going to extend it back. We're going to bend the right knee, stretch to touch those little toes back, and then come on up. feel again, your glutes are certainly working, but we're really going to start to feel, because we've been balancing so much on that right foot, really start to feel the muscles of your calf, your peroneals, your foot really working. Woo. I'm tired. Here's my last one. Good. Again, a little bit of movement if you need it. And find yourself really centered on your feet. Push down into the earth. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, fly the chest forward. Come all the way down. Feel free to bend the knees. Then we're going to heel toe the feet a little further apart and come into a squat. Right? So as you come down into the squat, we want to try to keep the heels down, but they may not stay down. You may need to lift them up. So what's your indicator? Well, the knees should always face the middle toes, right? So if the feet are out and the knees are collapsing in, this is not a good position for your knee. Better to have the heels up, knees facing the toes. Right? Another thing you can do is you can place blocks or pillows or a blanket under the heels, or just roll up your mat if you want something a little bit lower, right? Some people will come all the way down, others will not. The other thing you can do is sit on your blocks as high as you need to make them. This is still a squat, right? Again, even if your feet are a little wider apart, we want the center of the knee and the center toes facing the same direction so there's no torque on the knee. And last but not least, if you're a person who's got pieces missing because you've had surgery, you can always tuck some blocks behind the knees and relax into your squat. This will stop you from a complete bend acute bend in the knee, which may be a little bit more comfortable, or by all means, sit on a block. So whatever version your squat is, that's what we're going for, right? The squat should be a resting position. For a lot of people in this world, it is, right? But let's remember, for some of us, yes, the hips are a limiting factor, or the knees are a limiting factor, but sometimes it's the ankles. Right, we're going to press the upper arms into the legs into the upper arms. Hands come here towards the center. Try to lift up through the crown of the head. I'm just going to turn to face sideways here. You stay where you are. And then you can take your hands behind you, and for those of you who don't need your hands, you're going to scoop the tailbone and come to sitting, and extend the legs out in front of you. Give them a little shake. Good. And come on to the back. Just allow yourself to be steady and slow on the back. And then we're going to take a wide band, or a strap if you have it, and we're going to place it on the toe mounds. And it's going to come up. Your leg may be here, 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 or totally overhead. It really doesn't matter. We're going to take a little bit of tension on the strap and then just do some circles. So even if you don't have an elastic, a strap with a lot of elastic give to it, you can have just a little bit of tension on a regular strap, but let your strap move with your foot. We just want to add a little bit of resistance as we do these circles. Go in both directions. And then we're going to pull back on the strap and then push your toe mounts into the strap. Pull back, push forward. It's like your Barbie foot, or your speed pedal foot. And now we're gonna shimmy this right into right into the middle of the foot or where the arch meets the heel. And we'll just do a little stretch for the hamstring. If you'd like, you can straighten the left leg. You don't have to switch sides if you're not on the same side as me, that's just fine. Holding your strap in the same hand as the extended leg, so for me it's right and right. We're going to take it out to the right. Try not to let the left leg lift up off the floor. You want to try to keep the back of the left thigh or the one that's extended straight on the floor rooting down. Okay. And if it's rooting down properly, then the right leg, unless you are beyond flexible, the right leg will not be on the floor. It is where it is. Try to bring it up closer to your ear. Nice stretch for those inner groins. We're going to bring the right leg back up. Hold the strap with the left hand. Bring your right arm out to the right, and we'll cross the body. Now the lower leg is rotating out slightly, and here the hip is going to lift. Your right hip is going to lift, but we want to keep both shoulder blades glued to the floor. You can turn your head over to the right. From your right armpit to your right hip, lengthen. So here, getting a nice stretch in your IT band, iliotibial band, so from the pelvis all the way down the outer side of the leg. And we'll come back to center. Good. Unhook your strap. Take the right leg all the way down. And we'll go to the other side. So left leg comes up. We're going to take the strap around the toe mounds. So again, you can do this with a regular strap. It's not as thick, so you gotta work slowly so it doesn't come off as you do, whoop, like that, as you do your ankle rotations. So enough tension, enough tension so that we want to keep the foot working against a little bit more resistance than you provide without the strap. Go in both directions. And trying to keep the leg steady and just work the ankle. So for me, it's my left ankle that isn't as cooperative as my right. So I'm having some more problems with the strap. And then just pull back on those toe mounds and then try to have some resistance. So you're flexing your foot and then pushing the toe mounds forward. Flexing the foot, pushing the toe mounds forward. Flexing and pressing. And then we'll shimmy the strap down to where the arch of the foot meets the heel. And we'll just do Supta Padangusthasana A, B, and C here just to give a little bit more stretch to those hamstrings. As you pull the left leg towards you, root the inner right thigh towards the mat. Then we're going to take it out to the side, flexing through both feet. Again, back of the right thigh roots down so that as you bring the left leg out to the left, the hips stay grounded, the back of the pelvis is fully grounded. And we could try to lift the leg towards the ear if you like, but it probably will not reach the floor. It's not supposed to. And then we're going to come back up to center, grab a hold of your strap with the right hand, take the left arm to the left, and we cross the body with the left leg. You can turn your head to look to the left. Coming back to center, unhook the strap, and bring the leg down. Give the legs a little shake. fingers. And then bring the arms down by your sides, turning the palms to face up. If it's difficult to keep the palms face up, just move the arms slightly away from you. And breathe. From those hard-working feet through the legs and the pelvis, relaxing the knees completely. Let the belly soften, keeping the shoulder blades tucked underneath you. Let the shoulders and neck relax. Let go of your breath completely. Soften the jaws and let the biting surfaces of your teeth separate. Let the tongue be heavy and relaxed. Let the eyes relax. Softening completely. If you have the opportunity to stay in Shavasana longer, or to take yourself up into meditation whenever you feel it's appropriate, please do. Thank you very much for taking this time to work your feet and your ankles and hopefully benefit the rest of the structure of your body and your